Hi, it's your man Michael Sterling. I'm in your house like furniture. Right in here. And you are looking at the Papazoe Show.
Dope Nation.
Cigari from my niggas bounce. Shout out to Papazoe Show.
Yo, what up? You already know who it is, man. It's your man, Papazoe, the Papazoe Show with my co-host.
Walk the walk is in the building, baby.
In the building.
So, who you got over there, man?
Bruh, I got a living legend in the building.
Living legend.
Michael Sterling. Welcome to the show, Mr. Sterling.
Oh, man, thank you very much, man. Thank you for having me.
Most definite. Listen. Before I have to give you, I can't say your flower. I'm gonna give you your Bel Air bottle. That's my flower to you.
Okay.
This is for you, this big boy, for you to just put up in your trophy. All right?
See there?
Acknowledge you as the living legend of South Florida.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. See?
This here, you're gonna pop this here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So you got me over here feeling like the biggest boss right now.
Hey, man.
I'm about to grow a beard. Okay. That's all right. Okay, all right.
Figure it out.
So,
ain't nothing.
Now let me figure this out. Here, let me see. What was this? Yeah, I've seen it done. Okay. So yeah, I'm to stay out of my business. I told you, I've seen it done now. I told you that. Okay. We about to get this party. Quickly.
There you go.
All right, okay. All right now.
There you go.
I love it.
There you go. You got it. Got the hang of it.
Okay.
Pop.
Trust me. All right. Okay, all right.
It's coming.
Yeah, all right.
It is.
Okay.
All right.
All right, I told you.
Go ahead, Shell. Salute. That's it. That's what it is. All right. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Now, you know, it's a real pleasure to have you on the show. You know, it's a real pleasure to have you on the show. And then when I reach out to you, you was more happy to come, show some love, and then it's like I've been a fan of your music. You know, I'm up age too now. I'm 60.
Okay.
I'm old school.
Okay.
You feel me? But boy, I've been loving your music, boy.
For real.
Some babies got made off your music.
That what to tell me.
You feel me?
I had to learn to slow dance. I learned to slow dance off my guitar. You know, you had to hold the girl and you go like he go. I have to rewind, put it on rewind.
Rewind and keep playing it. Let me ask you something, right?
Hey.
Growing up in Miami, right? You know, what musical sound shaped you the most as a young artist?
Oh man, it's such a fusion, you know, of things, because I actually, you know, when I turned pro, I was actually playing salsa. You know, I started with with an act called Ray Fernandez, Ray and His Court.
Okay,
You know?
okay.
Yeah, man, I used to be on the bandstand, and you had to sing it, you know, in Spanish. I was on there, you know.
Oh,
so that was
word.
actually, yeah, and I played, you know, bass, you know, guitar. So I started, you know, there. That was, you know, great influence. And then in Miami, there was all of these, like, great singers.
Right.
And some of these people went on to do like marvelous, stuff like when that guy John Edwards, who went on to become the lead singer of the Spinners, I used to open, for him. There used to be some, old clubs like the Jetaway, and Tuna Green, to say, over Sir John's Night Beat. And that was like a jit.
Right here.
Miami. Yeah, man.
I don't remember them clubs.
Man, Galaxy Club, this is a strip club now.
Yeah.
79th
Okay.
Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it used to be called like the Double Decker back in the day. That club that's right off of 7th Avenue. And
On 79th.
and
That one right there.
79th
Okay.
Street.
Oh, yeah, that club, yeah.
It used
Right
to
in the
be-
corner,
Even the Climax, the Rolex.
Right.
The Rolex was actually called the Climax.
The Climax.
Back in the day.
Back
And
in the
I used
day.
to play, there.
It wasn't no strip club.
No, it wasn't a strip club.
yeah,
It was
it wasn't a
regular,
strip
it was
But
the
now-
place.
Yeah, now strip club is what it is now.
Yeah,
Everything is strip club. You can't even go to the club and dance and have a good time.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the strip
Yeah,
club.
one of the first bosses, I was out here, a gentleman by the name of Quartz. He used to, you're on the, place. Yeah.
Originally, you from Miami originally?
Born in Miami Beach.
Born in Miami Beach.
Bad, at Mount Sinai.
Mount Sinai, yeah. You got island roots?
Yeah. My family, Bahamas.
The Bahamas.
They're, I wasn't born in the Bahamas, but
but
but we had, my mother was born in New York.
Okay.
My father, was born in the Bahamas, and her people was born in
the Bahamas. So
you
you
Matter of fact,
got island roots.
Yeah, I think her grandmother was one of them. My father's mother from Haiti.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, man,
word. So you got that.
Yeah, they
you
were
got
all-
some,
everybody.
everywhere. You got some of that
Yeah,
Zoe blood.
everybody
You got
was
some of that Zoe blood in them. You're a melting pot. You're a melting pot by yourself. That's what it
that
is.
tripped me out. But that one, so when they turned, was like, oh, yeah, you ain't know about us.
Yeah. Great.
No, nobody, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's because there's a lot of Haitians. A lot of Haitians in the Bahamas. Most definite. Oh yeah. There's a lot of that over there. A lot of that.
Yeah. So.
Okay, Miami, right? Have such unique musical identity. How did the city of Miami influence your sound?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so I come up as a musician, which is something that actually a lot of people don't know. They don't even realize that those records that you're listening to, of me, is me playing all of the instruments, multiple, stuff. So I was always a musician, from conception. And I mentioned that, to say that's where the musical influences, came, into play about Miami. Because there's a certain way it is that, Miami, like their funk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely, yeah.
It's a different kind of, thing. We really did our own thing, down, on this end. And so I came up through the ranks, with the people, who were all, making stuff, happen. The Betty Wrights and then, we were very close, and the Jimmy Bohorns and George McCrae's, all of the original, the hit makers, that was here. So I went from, singing in the clubs and opening, and then when I, started playing in the, the bands.
Right.
And in Miami, the one thing that hasn't changed here is this is not a state or a city that you can pretend. They will run your ass
out
off that stage.
Miami ain't no joke.
If you ain't got
Miami
nothing,
ain't. No.
Now, let me, what? And it's interesting too because I'm a guy that I've appeared at the Apollo, in New York,
right?
Within a circle and stuff, and people. We used to hear these stories, and we thought the Apollo, man, that's rough,
Right.
And we went to the Apollo. And then people were so polite. He was like, wait a minute. If you want to make it, how they tell you now, if you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
It's crap.
Not compared
to Miami.
If you can make it in Miami,
you can make it anywhere. Anywhere. Miami tough.
Yeah, man.
Got a tough crowd. Tough crowd.
These
Tough
people
crowd.
move different, you know.
Everything we do down here is different, man.
So that's how, you know, so to answer, you know, your question, it influenced because, you know, here you have to play what will move the people. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, you learn that.
And it takes a lot to move.
Takes a lot, man.
To move Florida, Miami, not Florida, but Miami.
Yeah.
Crowd.
Because we didn't have, you know, all of these great tools that we have, you know, now. So it's kind of like, you know, like the way a DJ is. That DJ could be your best friend, but he can't play a song to a crowded house if that thing is not going to move, you know, the people. So it's the same thing, you know, with bands. And we were actually the stars of the show. The bands were, not the DJ. The DJ got to play in between, you know, when the bands, you know,
take
played,
a break.
because the bands, the musicians, you know, were the draw, you know.
Right.
And so as DJ stuff got popular, when the disco era, you know, came in, you was in a fight with the DJ. So they influenced us a lot. You know what I'm saying? You know, also because you can see, these guys are rocking the house, you know, with these records, man. So
that's what it is.
It had a lot to do with, you know, how my vibe, you know, came in.
Yeah.
When did you realize, like, I know you say you had like a little music background, but when did you realize, like, man, I can make a career out of music?
I decided it early. I turned pro at 11.
Wow.
Yeah, it's, you know, I could play, I'm going to say as well, you know, as anybody. And there used to be a place which, some people are too young to even know about it, called the Castaways. Castaways was like an island in a club on the beach. But not, what do you call it? When you go over, you're on 163rd Street, and you go over there, you know, where Trump has that Newport, you know, tower on the right side. That bridge used to be an entire, you know, club thing called the Castaways, and it was a very big,
like you talk about like going like.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
163rd Street.
163rd, yeah.
Go 163rd Street and keep going till you go over the,
bridge,
over the bridge.
Then
As soon as you go over the bridge, to
the
the right side, there was a big, huge place called the Castaways, where it is that only the top shotters, you know, played. And they had two rooms. They had a thing downstairs called the Rec Bar, you know, and a spot upstairs called the Inner Circle.
They made a parking lot of that spot.
Now, imagine that. So guys like Howard Johnson, KC and Sunshine Band, before there was KC King Sporty had, you know, they, you know, the band, what these guys call themselves, it escapes me right this second. But these were the top, you know, guys that started going into the record, you know, business.
Okay.
Yeah, man, it used to be like, listen, when I was like 15, 16, the Latin people have a thing called like Sweet 15s, stuff like that. We used to play these things, and Miami Sound Machine.
Right, yeah.
They ain't had no records either. I was in this band called Unit 3. There was Miami Sound Machine. There was all of these groups, Chubby and the Antiques. There was all of these people, you know, that we all used to play around here before the record stuff happened. Before Howard Johnson had So Fine. Right. He's playing in the Castaways. You know what I'm saying? You know, with us. All of us, so we kind of come out of that. Phyllis Hyman was around here gigging in the clubs.
Dang.
Before our record stuff, you know, popped up.
How was it? Was you guys ever like perform on the beach? You ever perform like?
Boss, I played every spot on the beach, every single hotel. I played all the private clubs too. It's still there. The multi-million, the bath club, the surf, club. Nah, I played so many bar mitzvahs. Listen, when the Jackson Five, I ain't say the Jacksons. When the Jackson Five came, they played the Americana Hotel, which turned into the Conover. I played every single one of these things.
Damn.
Yeah.
Man,
And when you do that,
damn.
you learn how to play all kinds of different music. That's actually, the background. I come up doing this. So I decided early, that I was going to do this. I never did anything else. That was it.
You're a big dog. You're
Well, rub shoulder with all types.
big dog. So, what was the first record company label you signed with? Was it?
Well, Ray Fernandez songs was coming on a label called Sound Triangle.
Okay.
And those are like the first, things. And then later on, I signed with Spectre and Capitol Records when I was with this group called Silver Platinum.
Okay.
Top 20 song called Dance, and that was like the beginning of, that was actually my first and last, thing that I, signed on, because after that, I actually owned all of those companies that put those records out,
Wow.
And all that stuff was playing on BET and all of that I learned early. It don't take but one bad deal, to learn. I became like a student. You have a lot of people that throw around that word, CEO, but most of these guys,
They really don't
they
know.
really don't know legal language, contracts. I can draft them, I can read them. I turned. I decided I didn't really want to sign anymore,
At one point, I thought you was. At one point, I thought you was with Luke at one point.
Yes, listen.
At one point, I thought you was with Luke.
Let me tell you how that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about that, because a lot of people don't actually know that story. I met Luther really when we got a chance to talk, trying to find a pressing plant to get his first records pressed. My friend owned the pressing plant. We were just, hanging around, sitting. But I knew, seeing him, around town, spinning,
Right.
records,
Yeah,
with, DJ.
Ghetto style
groups.
DJ and all that. Yeah.
But I was already long in the record business by the time, he came around.
Right.
But our relationship started because I'm an engineer. At one point, I made every record in the Luke catalog. I made everybody's records. He and I got together. He's, felt like, look, man, you can make a run for this. And we didn't have no sexy offices at that time. There was a back office at the Pac Jam.
Yeah.
So,
On
over
60,
there,
on 60, yeah.
like
62nd.
Like 50, what was that, 54th Street?
Was it
In the 7th
Yeah, 54,
Avenue?
yeah, 54, yeah, that one,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, we were over there. And so we were talking about quality control.
Right.
And, Luke was like, hey, man, you want to be friends, you know what I'm saying? I know how to be, a great, friend. You know what I'm saying? Too. Somebody want to be, really want to be, a friend.
Right, right.
We can be friends. We can do some stuff.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? I was like, yo, okay, I'm with it. So I made the records, and he, what do you call it? And he was distributing, you know what I'm saying, and putting out. And he was like, yeah, man. So I can distribute as long as, because I was in the studio doing. LaJuan Love, and Quiet's, album, Two Live Crew. Man, I did everybody.
So you were part of all that.
Yeah.
All that.
MC Twist and the Def Squad, Poison Clan. Listen, call JT Money, man. It was jits.
We had Matt Ball and Uzi here last week.
Yeah. The Rough Town.
Rough Town Mob.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Rough Town Mob.
Yeah, man, but I made, them records on them people, man. Yeah. So it wasn't like, we were very much together. Couldn't be more together. You understand?
Yeah.
Every day, all day, every day.
Yeah.
I need those records. And this was before there were no Luke Studios.
Right.
Because I was with the band Inner Circle.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yes. And so, I play lead guitar, in Inner Circle. You know what I'm saying? For shit. I don't even know how many years.
That's damn.
More than 20, 30 years. I mean, it was, in there, man. And so what happened is we're trying to find a better, situation, someplace where it is I could just focus all my attention on doing the record. So I said to Luke, that, hey, man, listen, probably what should happen is, come over, we could probably, cut a deal, and I can do all of the records, here. And we had a thing, it wasn't Circle House, it was called Circle Sound International. We was in Warehouse. We was in Warehouse,
Okay.
Place we called it the Box. And I was doing the records, there. So Luke came down, we made the deal, and so I did all of that, MC Shady, all of that stuff, the shaking and coming to correcting 88.
So you engineer all those?
All of those records. I engineered and mixed those records.
And all Dade County. All
of those.
All the back, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Before that, I know I did one of the first rap hits records, that I actually made. Do you remember there was a record back in the day called Donkey Kong?
Yeah.
Catching Breaks? That was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I didn't know.
All the way back, bruh.
I didn't know.
All the way back, dog.
Man, boy,
You ever work with Betty White?
Betty?
Yeah.
No, actually, I mean, and it's funny too, for as close of friends, as we were. No, we never worked, together. Well, we talked about it, you know what I'm saying? Because I would be at her house, you know what I'm saying? We'd be there, she was a very big supporter of mine. I met her during the Silver Platinum days when we had it, because we had like the same attorney. And we met her at a lawyer's office, and that was our first time, meeting her. And obviously, she's a queen,
definitely.
I mean, she's like the inspiration, because Betty's story was she was a jit. You know what I'm saying? She was a jit, and we all knew that. You know what I'm saying? That hey, so that's the first time we found out that yeah, man, that was actually possible. That you can do it. Betty's like the first kid. You know what I'm saying? That could actually break out.
Yeah, Miami.
Like that. Yeah.
On your song, right? What do you think the song "Lovers and Friends" continue connecting with audience decades later?
Well, I was very different from the R&B guys during time, and being an engineer, the record has bass, it has boom, you know what I'm saying, in it. The records were constructed, for a youthful, audience, and in the direction that we were going in, at the, time. So the record has all of these kind of like tone bass, notes, boom, 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 boom. It's not a conventional thing. It's actually a drum machine, a kick drum that I tuned, you know what I'm saying, to play, this stuff. So these kind of things, I think, had a lot, to do, with it. And I guess I didn't really sound like, You know how you have these singers, you always hear this story about how it is that, yeah, man, I'm in the church house and you used to sing. I'm not a church. I'm not a church house singer. I don't have a problem with church house singers. Right. I'm not one of them.
You're not one of them.
You know what I'm saying? Don't start me to lying.
You're outside with it. You're outside with it.
Yeah. So
lovers and friends.
I had a lot of respect, but I was singing in a way that I think, the kids, and stuff, and it just.
I can't hit that note though. Lovers and friends.
I think it kind of resonated. I think it resonated a little different. And because of that, also, back in the day, the R&B guys was bougie. They didn't associate with no hip-hop, guys. Yeah. They didn't even want rap music on the radio. They didn't even consider it to be music. They did not. And I humbly disagreed. I was like, I don't agree. And so I didn't go that route. And that's probably really the secret, to my coming across, the timelines. Right. These other guys, they didn't have no connection to, hip hop until guys started sampling, their records. And a lot of them told them not to.
You have anybody ever reach out to you, want to sample some of your stuff? I know they have, but I'm saying, have you always okayed it, or do you? Do
you have to draw up a contract?
Yeah, that always has to happen, but I always have to hear what it is, that they're doing. Like, it's been a number of them through the years. But let's say when Trick Daddy, came, which if y'all ain't figured out by now, Thug Holiday is a derivative of my song.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not necessarily like a guy that's quick to say like, okay. But Trick, was on the phone, and a BB from Circle House.
Circle House, BB, yeah.
Yeah, it's Ian's son. Had got him on the phone because he wanted to, to ask me, about it. And so I didn't know him, even though I knew his father, very well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know him. And he said to me that his brother Hollywood, that he had lost, that was really a favorite, song, you know what I'm saying, of his.
Right.
And that he wanted, to do is I was like, yeah, but what you gonna use it for? Yeah, what you gonna talk about? You know what I'm saying on it. And he spit, some stuff through the phone versus, from that. Yeah, boy, it was. Let's go, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's gonna be a yes for me. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, I like
boy,
that.
you going like that? He was really. The record.
Yeah.
The stuff that he was saying was really, really, it was something, man. And it was and that was one of the first. That was one of the first ones.
Hold on. Huh?
Cedric? Yeah. Management. Yeah. Yeah, this man here. Yeah, so Trick, Trick's song was the first, and then actually Trick and I got a song coming on his new album too.
Oh.
Yeah, it's another thing that's gonna be a
boy.
I'm looking forward to hearing that one.
Man.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that that happened. And so, I got these records. Everybody don't do the right thing. But they end up having to do the right thing,
Right.
And everybody don't come, do like, Trick. I couldn't even argue, that. I was proud, man.
Proud, yeah.
When I heard, where it is that he was going at, with it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of those records, like,
didn't Luda and Lil Jon do something?
I didn't even bother to talk about that one. Yeah. But they ain't come through the front door.
They ain't come to the front door?
No.
Oh, they slid. Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't good. I mean, it ended up being great, for me.
Right.
Not so good, for them though, on account of their record company president was he was a little out of pocket. John said that they were really responsible for for getting the record cleared.
Clear, right?
You know what I'm saying? Because John ain't in the Clarence business. Guy's a producer. Guy makes the record,
exactly. Yeah.
Turn the records in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's y'all part of the movie. You know what I'm saying? From here.
Yeah, I got to get it clear.
You know what I'm saying? But they didn't. And, by the time, and if I'm being honest, I think the reason why that happened is because I don't think that they was looking for any black people. I don't think they were looking for any. You know what I'm saying? And they went a different route. But the time to ask for a deal is not after you have shipped, over 1 million records.
Right.
That's not really the time. I'm legendary for telling people, look, man, I'm practicing my shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't do practice. I don't do test. That's not what we're doing here. That's not. I'm very hard line, on that. I'm not a difficult guy, to get stuff done with. But what you won't do is play in my face concerning my
with
music.
your stuff. Yeah. Most
That's what you
definitely,
will not do. Because I'm a real record executive. I'm not a fake record executive where it is that I don't understand the math or the language or the stipulations. And as a matter of fact, from the time the situation happened, even concerning, John, I had already said to them, oh, I know what this guy's going to do. Because it's boilerplate in most of all of these contracts that these guys have, that there's any records, that's actually not cleared, that cause any legalities. You already know the first thing that they do is freeze all of your funds.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
And essentially, they're going to pay me with your money. you know what I'm saying? That's what they're going to do. Yeah.
Has both, as both being a singer and a composer, which comes more naturally to you? Writing melodies or writing lyrics?
Originally, it probably was the melodies, because I'm going to think melodic, first. But in terms of my song structure, I've always been a person, like in the old days, I would write, songs, a great deal of them, based on the title and subject matter.
Right.
So I could start, there and say, hey, man, well, we're going to name this song Mars. Oh, okay, cool. Well, now that we have the title, I think, let me just figure out exactly, how it is, what kind of melody, rhythm, that will go along, with it. But sometimes it doesn't come that way. It's like when I wrote Lovers and Friends, I didn't know what that song was going to say. I didn't know. I just had the melody, and I'd play, piano, stuff the way I heard it. Just the thing like when you hear Khaled sitting at the piano talking about bam, bam, bam. Another way Khaled, playing. I was actually playing that melody.
So when you wrote it, right? When you wrote Love and a Friend, so you really what were you trying to capture from the record?
First thing, I wanted the melody to tell me what the words would be. Understand?
Oh, okay.
So it's like that.
Okay.
And that's kind of like how once, I cut it, and you're playing this thing, bing, 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 and I'm like, okay, so now what is this saying to me? Bing, 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 and that's where the words of it came in, because I just had the melody, and as a matter of fact,
and you put the word to it.
I had done the entire arrangement musically. I did the entire arrangement, the whole score, you know, the strings, all of the stuff, and I hadn't sang anything on it yet.
Okay.
After I'm playing it over and I'm playing it over, you know, in the studio, and then it was like, oh, I hear this. This is what this is saying. It's saying this right here. Tell me again. You know, said that will be lovers and friends. You know, and then from that, you know, I needed to work on the verses of the. If you listen to that song the next time you hear it, you'll notice that the melody of the song is being played throughout the composition. Everything that I'm singing, you'll hear bing, 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 bing. It's me playing, and then I made the words to go along with the melody. Put your hand, girl, don't waste no
That's a
time.
unique style. I mean, that style, I mean,
That voice though, that
how it
voice,
works out for me.
that voice, I can't say I haven't heard no voice like your voice. Your voice, like you said, Walt, it's a unique. You had a unique style.
Yeah, it worked out for me, man.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't really think of myself as a singer. You understand? I don't think of myself as a vocalist. Being a musician, you know, for so long, I didn't really think of myself. And in Silver Platinum, when we had a hit, I never put the instrument down. I used to sing, you know, all the songs from, you know, behind playing bass guitar, you know, or whatever, you know. I didn't think of myself I still don't really think of myself, you know, as much, you know, of a vocalist, though I understand, okay, this is what happens if you're a musician or you have like education, knowledge of the arts. Okay. I've always believed that my strong suit was my ability to arrange. See, it's not just the song, it's what the music makes you feel. So when you hear like a One More Chance, you know, and people love, you know, the song One More Chance, it's the actual music itself and the arrangement of the strings and the horns and all of the things.
Let me ask you this: How many instruments do you play?
I don't know, but I play my share, you know, of things. I don't play you know, horn or, you know, woodwind, but in school I was in the jazz ensemble. I was in the marching band, the jazz ensemble, you know, the orchestra, you know. And so when you're in orchestra, you get a really this is something that it's kind of almost witty to a certain degree. Like most of these, you know, so-called producer, you know, guys, you know, that's out here have samples of things that they don't even know what it is. You know the thing, you don't actually know what that instrument is. You know, when I, you know, write, I arrange music based on what the actual instruments, you know, are. We know that this is, okay, these are violins, these are violas, these are the cellos, you know, these are French horns, you know, this is, you know, a bassoon, you know, different things that I'm using, you know, in the records, which is very different, you know, from other guys. And I think I had the pleasure of knowing the late great Barry White, and he thought that, you know, thought that we had, you know, stuff in common. You know, he said, you know, and I don't liken myself necessarily to be, you know, like Barry White, but having said that, you know, he never made anything that I didn't understand. Absolutely, you know,
because he was like you. He's a composer.
And a record company, when he invited me to come sit down with him at his home, you know, in California, man, and we sat down and we, you know, chopped it up about that. And we were saying that, you know, he had started the record label, Unlimited Gold, you know, he was a real record executive, you know, he had, you know, an understanding of that stuff. And I had an understanding, you know, of it. So when I listen to, you know, to music, I can dissect the piece, you know, I get it. All right, this is what's, you know, happening. And I come across, you know, from a different time zone. Before there was drum machines, there was none of this stuff.
None of that stuff.
You understand? There was no sampling. There was
nothing.
I was around for all of that. There was no digital. There was no hard drives. There was none of that stuff.
You had to make that
you
off
know?
scratch.
Yeah, exactly. So I come from that. You know, yeah, I may not look it, but you know what I'm saying? I was, hey man, you know, yeah, I come from that.
Do you think today's R&B music is missing anything that records from your era had?
Yeah, I do. I do think so. Not all of them, because there's always exceptions. There's never, you know, any 100, you know, percent. There's exceptions, but most of the thing that if I have a peeve about it is that I don't think that they understand what the essence of that music, you know, is about. I think there's a great deal of people who think of it more as a hustle or something that, you know, that they can do. Yeah. They don't realize that the music that we do, it's in the roots of the timelines of how we felt about our women or our significant others or our men at the time. See, if you listen to the music, you go back, listen to the song, and you will get a picture of how we felt about each other as, you know, and everybody.
Absolutely.
And so when you listen to today's R&B, there are not a lot of, sometimes that stuff got removed. What I think people did is, I think they started marrying, you know, elements of hip hop, lyrical content into, you know, the R&B, and not realizing that, wait a minute, that's not a requirement. You know, like, gangsters gonna make love also. And they're not necessarily gonna be reaching, you know, for the hardcore, you know what I'm saying, in order, you know what I'm saying, you know, to get that done. That's, you know, so I think that if I could give any advice, you know, to any of these people, I would say that you all need to be mindful of what it is that you're talking, because if you're trying to be the continuum of what it is, you know, that we come from, you cannot make R&B devoid of love.
Right. That's it. Yeah.
Because if you do, you know, then you'll see, like, that's why you can make the argument there's a whole lot less love in our community, you know, these days, because we went through this period where everybody wanted to be hard. They wanted to be hard, and they wanted to be, you know, Jesus.
Tough,
I'm like,
Exactly.
I'm like, oh,
Absolutely.
what you singing about, bruh? You know what I'm saying? Like, wait a minute.
Hey, he hitting it on
See,
the
you
head.
took strip club culture, where it is that, okay, you go to the strip club, and you don't have to give her no lyrics in order to see what she working with. But R&B and love song is born out of that, where it is that, yo, you gonna need to romance, you know, sweetie, because that ain't going down like that. And that's the reason why it is, I guess the term could be, R&B has been compromised. You know what I'm saying?
I've been compromised.
It's been compromised. It's been tampered with.
You got it.
You know what I'm saying? But Brother Malcolm say, I'm here to tell you, you've been had. You've been took.
It ain't the same. You've been bamboozled. You've been hoodwinked.
Yeah, let it straight.
You
Run
definitely.
them up. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened.
You're right about that, because I don't know what.
I mean, what makes the love song truly timeless?
You know what makes it timeless, you know, is love is the one subject that, most of us know the most and the least about, right? You know what I'm saying?
I get a drink. I gotta get a drink on that.
You hear the expression where it is that two things can be, true at the same time? That we know the most and the least, to say, about. But what makes it timeless, in my, opinion, is the stories, that, we tell. There's a difference. You know how Stack 3000 said that the South has something to say?
Something to say, yeah.
Okay, and so he was talking about the lyrical content of what it is, that the hip-hop guys, saying, which is very, very valid.
Yeah.
But in R&B, you have to have, or you should have, something to say. And what it is that you have to say, if you want it to be timeless, needs to be something that can actually come across the timeline. And so what happens is a lot of those songs, from the last decade, or so, it's gotten almost like disposable. It's not lasting because you ain't really saying
nothing.
You ain't really saying nothing. You want something to be timeless, you need to say something.
I mean, definitely.
You heard when Rick Ross song said a superwoman needs a superman. I am he. Okay, that ain't going nowhere. I promise you, that ain't going nowhere because that's gonna be valid. Ain't no time coming when that ain't gonna be valid. You have to actually have something, to say if you want something to be, timeless. And I try to, avoid when possible. Any trendish, things like, remember when Cross Colors was the funk?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but y'all don't want to wear them no more. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Nope. That's how your music can be. But I try to say things that, like, all I need is one more chance. Where is that argument going? You know what I'm saying? Where is that argument going? That argument ain't going nowhere. Hey, I'll be way off the planet. You would have said 50 years from now, and trust me, somebody will say, all I need is one more chance. So you try to say, the things, that actually, mean something.
Mean something.
The lyrics to Lovers and Friends, the put your hand in mine, girl, don't waste no time. I love you, and that's all that matters. Put your trust in me. Darling, you will see.
You had a lot of hits, boy. You had a lot of hits.
He said, I'll buy a house for you, baby.
That's right.
One for your mama, too.
Yeah. But it always seemed like, I can't see no generation where that ain't going to work. You know what I'm saying? Hey. Brother, all for that.
Every holiday, I used to turn on Fine 99 Jams because they going to play that holiday, November, December, New Year.
You're using the airwaves like, just to talk to you. That's why I said, send my message loud and clear. And there you go.
Absolutely.
And there'll probably still be soldiers that ain't coming home this year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It'll still, and we're going to miss the people that we love because we build up so many memories with them during their time, with us during the holidays, that I thought that wasn't a popular choice when I decided to do that because that came after One More Chance. And One More Chance was so successful, for me as a breaker. People were thinking that, yeah, man, you need to come with the next, love, song. And then I said it is a love song of a different, nature.
Right, right.
I got love for the, for the guys that's in prison.
Yeah.
That,
Exactly. I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I felt that one there, man.
Yeah.
And the soldiers, that's what I'm saying. I had, things, to say. So it was kind of like, but that's what it's about. When you said you want something to be timeless.
Yeah.
It needs to be, relative.
Let me ask. Okay, looking back, right? What was your biggest challenge you face in the industry?
My biggest challenge, was during the time that I came up, the competition was very, very stiff, and the majors had a whole lot of money to throw at, promotion and marketing, for the acts, that was in debt, to them, that they wanted to get their money back, right? So, as a testament to my pen, me using up my brain, I was thinking like, okay, so what's the thing that I can do? What can I do? All right, Negro, you don't have the money, that people who don't share this paint job, have. You know what I'm saying? Folks with a different paint job, they got different money. You ain't got none of that, so you're not going to be able to outmarket them. And since you insist on being, independent, what is it that you can do that don't have nothing to do with money? What can you do? And it was my pen. Great as Babyface, was, who's a wonderful, composer, and the songs, that he wrote, and Jam and Lewis and all of them, they didn't write Lovers and Friends. They didn't write Holiday. Yeah. They didn't write What Do You Do? So I was thinking that was my end. So this was my challenge. My challenge was, my pen. They didn't write I Will Always Be There For You. They didn't write that,
Yes, hits, man.
So my thought, was always that. It was like, that was the challenge for me. It was like, yeah, man, you can't compete. How you going to compete against these people? I remember the true story. There's a guy that, named Keith Isley. He was program director at WHQT, of which you call Hot 105.
Hot 105.
Back in the day. Back when they didn't belong to Cox. Those stations were separate and distinct. You had, 99 Jams,
right.
Which was a D River station, owned by that guy. And then, you had Hot 105. They were the enemy, the competition, in the market. Okay, so when my Trouble album came out, my song "What Do You Do," went number one at that station, and so after that, we came with Lovers and Friends, and when we came with Lovers and Friends, I was sitting in the man's office, and he said that Capitol Records is on the phone salty because they wanted to know, why are you playing this guy, Michael Sterling, and you have not added the Freddie Jackson record that they had at the time? Memory escapes me which particular thing, it was. But what happened, was he said, my reason for playing the Michael Sterling Lovers and Friends song is because we're getting calls, for that song. The actual people are calling, for this,
Hot 105.
for this song. Yeah, I was just in his office and he shared that with me that, and that program director is not a black man. He's not a black man. He put that record, on, at that station, and he went to bat, for me, because obviously Capitol Records is a huge, they had, these guys, at the time, and, Freddie, had a run. He was hot as fish grease from the 80s, you know what I'm saying, coming into, but coming in the 90s,
early 90s,
I was John Blazing, at that point, and we did everything that we needed to do. We got, the videos, at BET, in the box, Jukebox Network, at the time.
Right, at the time, Jukebox,
the little company that thinks it can. We were doing all that we could do, to just, to cover the bases. But that man went to bat, he really did, and he said, I heard he was like, that's why. So it's pen. I don't think if the material wasn't, as strong, I don't think that I would have had, the success. Because listen, all the major record companies have they could have 10 artists at a time.
Exactly.
There's only so many slots,
Yeah,
at the, station. So only way you going to get in, but you got to write something
that means that they like, something they won't.
I remember Betty Wright saying to me, she said to me when Holiday broke, she said, she said, I'm so proud of you. She said, you have something I don't have. I'm looking at it, I was like, what's that? She was like, that Christmas song thing that, you wrote is, she told me, she said, that's special. She was proud of me. That meant a lot, from her, because you Betty Wright.
Well, when you said that, right, so let me ask you, what moment, you saying that Betty Wright, so what moment was like your proudest moment ever in your career?
It's tough for me, I don't know. I guess I think probably when I began to be recognized, there are some people that did, some really nice things, for me, during the time that we were like. This year, I got a chance to speak to Donnie Simpson to thank him for the first time. Like I had the first video. I was one of the first guys making like music video stuff around here when it wasn't sexy, right? And so I had this song called "The Girl Is Cheating While She's Wearing My Ring." It wasn't a ballad. To sing, but it was, cool. And the video, was, clever, big budget, to do, music video. We rented out what was Gusman Hall, shut down downtown Miami, a couple of streets, and there were all kinds of stuff, that we did, to do it. But I went to BET, and there was a producer, the guy that was in charge, his name was Jeff, Newman, Those guys showed me a lot of love. And this guy that they used to call the unseen VJ, guy by the name of Alvin Jones, Jeff Newman, the producer, senior producer at the time, he said that Donnie, was going to break, the record, the video, and he did. And I think that's the first time my mother really believed that
you. She had a superstar. Maybe she had a superstar son.
Maybe it's true what they say. You know what I'm saying? Because the neighbors, were saying, that we seen because everybody was watching video. So at the time that was like a big thing. And when Donnie Simpson, broke that video, that's got to be like. I was like, really, that was a proud moment. Just because my mother actually, my mother's like not really wanting to give it up, not like that, not like that. She wasn't a showbiz mom, at all. And, but even her, when she was watching, she's seeing
her baby on TV.
Okay.
So that was it.
Because she wouldn't go down to the set. She wasn't going to do it for me. That was like a big thing.
So if you could sit down with your younger self doing the recording of Lovers and Friends, what advice would you give them?
I've always been of the opinion that when you go to make a record, you do your best. Okay. It doesn't mean that your best is going to be, a hit, it's great, but you have to develop a system that will allow you to live with yourself.
Okay. I like that.
If you know that you've done your best, the best that would have happened, you know what I'm saying, while you were, doing it. Yeah. Like, I don't think that the music is, like, perfect, per se.
Right.
But it's nice when when it's successful and the people, receive it.
Mm-hmm.
But I can hear things where it is that, oh, man, if I if I could have done it,
done
that's the
it.
only thing that really makes me keep my head up, is because if I could have done better, I would have done, better. But I really couldn't do any better, at the time. Because those people who know me, I go really, really hard. And I'm very, very critical of my efforts. I'm very, very critical of my efforts. If I would tell my young self, that, hey, kid, stay at it. You know what I'm saying? I would say the same thing. Hey, stay at it, kid. Stay at it, man. Stay at it. And I would also thank my younger self also for not believing that there was just one thing that you needed to do, because a lot of folks fought against me with that. Mm. They didn't think that I needed, all right, there are a lot of great musicians. We have no shortage of great musicians.
Yeah,
lots of them.
A lot of good music.
So people would be okay, you're Whitney Houston, and she isn't playing on any of those records. You know what I'm saying? She's not. There's a lot of records. So they used to say hey man, why is that so important? To you, because these records could be done a whole lot faster. You can call in my man here, this guy, that guy. These are all great guys. They can play this, thing, and knock it out. But my attitude was, I don't want to be blindfolded. When I say blindfolded, it's like somebody take you to a location blindfolded, and if you needed to get back there,
you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know how to, get back there.
Yeah.
I was one of those guys that felt like, look, man, you ain't Stevie Wonder, dog. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, but maybe I could be.
Wow.
It was like, yeah, but that's gonna take a while. Yeah, it was like, yeah, and I believe that, I didn't believe a lot of other things that they said, but I believe that, that, you're not going to be good enough, for the execution to be able to do all of the stuff, that you want to do. You making records and you're playing all of the, parts and everything like that. That's going to take a level of excellence in order to be able to compete. It could take a minute, What it took from me was my leisure time. I didn't have that. I didn't have a lot of leisure time. I was always a guy,
working.
Locked away. So it's a lot of people who would tell you, I never met the guy. I never, you know what I'm saying? He's from Miami. You know what I'm saying? I never met the guy. I know, because I'm not an easy guy to see. I'm a guy who's always locked away, working on.
It's a privilege then for you to be here.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, man. Having me. But I do have something that I want to discuss, that I have new, that, that's coming. I like a little different from Drake. I have multiple projects, but I'm not going to turn them all loose, at the same time. But the second week in June, I'm going to have for my most successful album, the Trouble, album, what we call the Trouble Deluxe, edition. It's got some, it has some extra, songs, on it that I had proposed that should have been, there that wasn't.
Okay.
And remastering different, things that's coming, with that I think that people are really gonna have a good time. With it's strange how that works. Like daily, there are thousands of people playing. The music is getting discovered in places where it is like, for some reason or another, Africa missed the first wave. They own it now, though.
They own it, boy.
They own it now.
People don't get it. Africa is a big market
so many
right
places,
now.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of
big market right now.
There are a lot of places.
And I got a couple good homies over there in Africa that's got some radio stations, some major,
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Africa's.
Yeah, that's So, people have called me and asked, like, dude, when you coming,
Yep.
And I've been within a circle, but I've never gone as a solo.
Artist.
They
love it, boy. They love
They own it, man.
They own
when
it
I
over
tell
there.
you, yeah.
See, I know. I know.
Yeah.
What's one of your biggest lessons that you learned from the music industry?
I learned, that, and it came early on too. I learned that it's great to have an attorney to interpret things, for you, but that really pales in comparison to you actually speaking the language. Because you're blindfolded again.
Right.
This guy's marching you through and he's, telling you, but you don't actually understand the intent of the language. You don't understand.
They make it like that so you don't understand.
Of course.
So they could go ahead and swingle you.
See, that's a part of me being locked away, right? Because it wasn't just, at one point, it used to be all musical. And then it turned from that, to all corporate. Now you need, to understand, you have stewardship over a catalog for music, and act, but you realize that there's a responsibility that comes along with that, and you need to be able to represent it properly. To do that, you need to understand, the language. How would you even know what to ask for? You know what I'm saying? You don't even know what to ask for. The greatest record man that ever came from Miami is a gentleman by the name of Henry Stone. He had a company, called TK Records. All of those people, our first group of stars that came through here, all came through him. That's where Betty Wright, that's where George McRae and his Rocky Baby and Casey and the Sunshine Band, all to get down there, all of these people, with Bobby Caldwell, What You Won't Do for Love, all of these are all TK, artists. So I knew him very well and had a very good relationship with him. And then we met each other with me negotiating a contract, you understand, for, people. And so, obviously with that, we had a very different kind of relationship, about that. And he said something to me that was very apropos, interesting. He said to me, we're talking about the point structure and contract.
And contract, yeah.
Henry Stone says to me, I need you to understand, music business from a very pragmatic standpoint, not just, the language and everything, but from a very practical standpoint of why. He says, you need to remember this that I'm about to tell you. He said, it doesn't matter what the contract says, because the contract is only as good as the person's word that's issuing it.
The contract, yeah.
I promise you 25 points, Mike. But it doesn't matter if I don't intend to pay you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
How's that for a lesson? You understand? How's that for a lesson?
Damn.
Okay, so you need to learn, that, man, it's about the honor. On the just what popular belief, man, I'll get a lawyer, I'll sue you. Captain, there are people out here that are very, very good at hiding
stuff.
Their fun.
Little small things.
Okay?
Yeah, a little small thing you would never know.
It's the honor. The honor.
Man.
Yeah. Where's Rick Ross these days? What part of the world is he in?
He's everywhere.
Yeah.
You know that? Yeah, exactly.
And man, every time, Rick, looking at this, Rick's always said to me, 3 times he said to me, he says, hey, all right, when you ready, I'm ready. Okay. All right.
So you ready?
Hey, man.
So you ready?
Yeah.
So ready?
Next time you talk to him,
you ready?
And tell him,
I catch him early in the morning.
Tell him that. You always says that to me. I'm
gonna say, yo, Mike was on the show.
Yeah,
matter of fact, when the show over, we're gonna take pictures. You gonna see it. Yeah. I'm gonna be like, yo, Mike was on the show. Mike said he ready.
Yeah. He always says that. He always says that to me. Yeah, man. When you ready, I'm ready. Yeah.
What legendary artist, past or present, would you have love to collab with? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I don't know that there's necessarily like, a particular, artists, but there's certainly some, arrangers, that I would have loved to, collaborate, with. There's the late great, Tom Bell.
Okay.
You were responsible for all the spinners, stuff. Oh man, I would have loved to have, done that. I think that I had an opportunity that I didn't, Gerald Levert.
Oh man.
I was at a photo shoot for the album that he did with his father, called Father and Son. Is the name of the album. Right. And we were in New York when they were shooting the photo, for it. And when they took a break, I was chopping up with Gerald, and Gerald was saying to me that, yeah, man, you need to get by the, house, man, by the, studio. We there all, the time, man, we do something.
Damn.
And I,
Levert.
and I didn't get a chance, to do that.
I was a bad boy.
Yep. I was getting an award one night, and Gapman was getting an award. So Little John and I went and got an award, but house was filled that night. That was it was really my first time really chopping it up with our Kelly. We went on to be cool, later on, but just that particular night, since we were all at the the awards stuff, he got, and Charlie Wilson said to me, "Hey, Mike, man, you write one of them, one of them songs. It's on my bucket list. You ought to have said I hadn't done it. You ought to say, yeah, we hadn't gotten, together, but I think I'd like to do that, because I think that I will write something, that's that's different from ever, and probably and since we at it, you asked, Stephanie Mills.
Yeah.
I think, I really became a big fan of hers when she had I think the album was called Night Games, and she had a song on there called Night Games. And when I heard the vocal performance, that she on it, I thought like, wow, I could.
You could do something with it.
Yeah, I could do something. And I think at some point, that ain't happened yet, but when I think one of these days, I wouldn't be surprised, I would probably write something great for Beyonce.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I think because your music as you get older, and you do different, projects, it's gonna change.
As you get older, you're gonna change. Period. Your thought, everything.
You look for opportunities to do greater and greater and greater. Now, not that she needs, me, because there's obviously, a lot of people that can do stuff.
Yeah.
But like I said, about what was my end is my pen.
Right.
I don't care who it is.
What I'm
saying?
You gonna put it to work.
You understand?
Yeah.
That's what makes us, unique that particular way. Because once again, you sit over there with $1 billion, but somebody's ability to be able to write something, that will be very, very impactful. I have always felt like there's certain singers, and she's one of them, who it is that can make people feel the composition. Whitney.
I think what makes her good though is she has some good writers. That's what Me personally.
Yeah, I heard that.
She got some good writers.
I heard she ain't no slouch herself. You know what I'm saying? And she got a pen. She got a pen, but she surrounded herself, with some pretty, good people. But it's like anything else. Like I said, you can't corner the market. On a person's pen. There is somebody right now in some room. You know what I'm saying? That we never heard of. Who has written the most amazing thing, you know what I'm saying? That's gonna,
that's gonna do amazing stuff.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Before we close out, right? I'm this last question I got for you, right? I want you to finish this sentence. Real R&B will never die because
there's always a handful of artists that believe, and that's alive, that will be alive, to pass the baton. That's why it won't die. Because of these Eric Benets and all of these guys, that's out here, that they're gonna leave behind that body of work. You know what I'm saying? Those Freddie Jacksons, you know what I'm saying? There's always going to be, some guys that's going to leave something behind, that like breadcrumbs, you know what I'm saying? Skittles, you know what I'm saying? For somebody to walk behind and go, that's the reason why, it won't die. You see, that's kind of like the difference between R&B and hip hop. Yeah. People tend to think that hip hop, it's always got to be the thing that's, that's in the moment. But R&B is not like that. R&B is not like that. Like, man, nobody trying to hear no old, rap songs. What's the flow? You know what I'm saying? Right now.
That's true.
R&B is not like
that. That's true. That's true. They definitely R&B you could be whatever. You're gonna keep going. Yeah. But like hip hop, you get a certain age, oh man, he ain't know nothing. What are you doing trying to bring music? You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? People know, say all of a sudden they can't hear the argument because they're looking, at the aesthetic, going, yeah, man, he's too old, he's too this, he's too that. Man, I ain't trying to hear that. Listen, music I did a show last Sunday, Mother's Day, where in which the helicopters and police and everything, we felt so bad that they oversold the thing. One of the saddest things that, happened. Disco Rick, that's my brethren, and pretty Tony. Disco Rick calls me up, and we were I'm at, the hotel. We haven't gotten to the venue yet. And Rick says, hey, man, what time, you getting, the venue? I said, they told me to leave, the hotel at 11. And Rick, laughed. Rick said, oh, yeah, okay. How you going to get in? I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, bruh, there's 20 police cars, helicopters. It's crazy, bruh. It's, all. I was like, what? Yeah, and he showed me. He said, you think, FaceTime. I don't think they, it's a lot of people are not really familiar with, like, the fans are, no, they serious, they get opportunity, to, see me. They really
come in.
They really came, when I tell you, they came out.
They came out, show love.
Yeah,
man, she was a legend, man. They better come out.
Yeah, that's, it's cool. But what I think really makes you, for me, like, this is what everybody will know, so this will go on the record. When I can no longer be that guy, the guy that you're listening to on the way to the show, expecting to see, I'm gone. That's one thing about me. You ask around, it'll tell you that I pride myself on being able to sing those records. It will be scary. You would think I ain't singing. You were like, what do we have here now? What is this? Yeah, because I come from the days in which, you needed to be able to defend whoever that is, you know, that you made, they're expecting to hear. And I ain't even gotten to the point, I haven't changed the keys, nothing. It is just like you
Same
know
way.
it.
Same
Oh,
way.
it's just the way you know
nothing
it.
different.
I haven't lost any, you know, range. I hear these guys, you know, some of these guys that's out here, I mean, you know, God bless them, man. You know, they still out here, you know, trying to eat, you know, off it, but they're really shells of themselves. They're not really.
You still got it.
You can't defend it like that.
Levels and free.
Yeah,
Still got
we don't play with it that way. We don't
still
play
got
with it that way. We don't play with it. We don't play with it.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
That's what's
That's
up.
when
I
I will
salute
know.
you, man.
That's when I will know that it's
I
time to go.
salute you.
When I can no longer be that guy,
Then that's when you gone.
I'm going, man. Y'all go. You know, I heard Bobby Brown had me laughing. He was on. Bobby Brown said to these people also, "Hey, y'all want to see me dance?" It was like, yeah. He say, go to YouTube. You understand? You understand? Go to video. Y'all can see me dance there, baby. Yeah, because I ain't trying to do all that. You understand?
Not right now.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to be.
Man, hey, I appreciate you, man, for coming through, showing love, man, to the show.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks,
hey.
thank you for having me.
Most definitely,
You know,
man.
hopefully, man, you know, the people, you know, well,
This will air next week.
okay.
It's gonna air next week. It's gonna, be on Apple, everywhere, as far as
Okay, y'all heard him.
Apple, iHeart, all that
Apple,
stuff.
iHeart.
All that good stuff. Pandora, all that good stuff.
That Pandora, look at that.
Yeah. All that good stuff. Yeah,
One
man.
man said, yeah.
Yes,
like
man.
white folks.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you for coming through.
Yes, sir.
You.